I don't regret working while I was in college. But if I had the chance to just focus on school and internships, yeah, I'd have signed that dotted line in a heartbeat. Now, there may be a lot of reasons why you might need to work while you're in school. Maybe you're supporting yourself, maybe you want independence, you want experience, or maybe you just have bills and tuition that aren't going to pay themselves. It might be thinking me saying you're probably going to need a job feels like saying the sky is blue. So if you're a student watching this thinking, yeah, I already know I have to work, what else is new? You're not alone. That was me too. But here's what I wish I could tell my younger self. Just because working during college is a given doesn't mean you have to do it the same way I did. Different schedule, different kind of job, and hopefully a much better experience. Because maybe, just maybe, you don't need to be the one putting fries in the bag or taking verbal abuse over the phone. So let's talk about it. If I was 18 again, the first thing I'd be thinking about this summer is, what does a good student job actually look like? Whether you're trying to save money, build experience, the right job can make your semester and the wrong one can quietly wreck it. Before I locked into my two main jobs, I tried it all. Wendy's, a janitor gig, cleaning franchise, grocery store cashier, and eventually, as you all probably well know by now, made my way into retail pharmacy and accounting internships. If I could build the ideal student job by taking the best traits from all of them, it would have looked like this. 1, flexible hours that respect your class schedule. 2, chill managers who are fair and don't micromanage. 3, close to home or campus so you're not burning time or gas. And finally, actually teaches you something, whether that's soft skills or something you can list on a resume. Now, I get it. Most companies won't care how fast I served fries or how often I said hello. But what you do build in those roles without realizing it is organization, communication, which is harder than it sounds in corporate settings if you can believe me or not. And lastly, initiative. If you are someone who takes your job seriously, even when it's not your dream job, that shows up later in interviews, internships, student organizations, anywhere. And if your job respects your schedule and doesn't treat you like a robot, that's already a win. Again, even if you don't land the perfect job, there are some things I wouldn't tolerate again. Rude or micromanaging managers. I don't mean strict. I can handle strict managers. That's fine. I'm talking about people who talk down to employees, ignore problems, play favorites, or kill the vibe entirely. Toxic coworkers. Like the ones who won't teach you anything, but still get mad when you mess up. And finally, no flexibility. If your job doesn't respect your class schedule, your midterms, or your finals, then it's not for you, no matter how much it pays. I've walked away from jobs like that, and if you can, you should too. And just to add a quick note, don't ever feel the need to apologize for prioritizing your life and your education. To avoid miscommunications in the future, in the interview process when you're trying to find a job in college, just let them know what's up, what's going on in your life, and if they can work with you. All right, now let's move on to what kind of work experience I would have rather done in college. First, let's discuss the two big experiences that dominated most of my college life that I would change. First, I wouldn't have invested in a business. Even though it did well, it ate up too much of my money. I should have just gotten a normal job and kept it simple. Second, I would have left retail much sooner. If you want the full story as to why, I have many videos talking about it, so check my channel out. What would I do instead? I'd apply like crazy to small tax firms or mom and pop accounting shops, the kind of places that are actually manageable as a student. Why would I work at places like this? I've been applying to firms like this recently, and they've always been around. I just never considered them back then. In school, we were always pushed toward the big four or large corporations. And look, I get it. Prestige, connections, good pay. But if we're talking about actual learning of tax law and real accounting work, I didn't learn much after my first year in that big corporate environment. What I did learn were the soft skills, being organized, using tax software, communicating with coworkers, data entry. Useful, if for sure, and I'm grateful for it. But I wasn't really touching the core of what I was studying. In these interviews with smaller firms, I'm seeing the opposite. They want me to be hands-on, actually do the accounting, work on real client files, and learn tax law on the job. It sounds intense, but these places usually have fewer clients and more manageable tax seasons. Maybe 1 week will be 45 to 50 hours instead of 60 to 80 every single week, like at the big firms. So would I still intern in a big company? Yeah. But getting real hands-on experience while still in school, incredibly valuable. Experience made class easier, class never made work easier, and I stand by that statement. Now, that's just my perspective as an accounting major. If you're in a different field and have entry level work that gives you experience without a degree, do it. If not, I can't stress this enough. Internships, internships, internships. Take whatever experience you can get and level up your resume. And please secure the bag. I never worked an unpaid internship across the four that I did, nor am I the biggest fan of them. All right, now flipping back to reality, when I was working part-time, that was usually on the weekends, and my schedule would always look like this. Friday, 12 to 8, Saturday, 9 to 7, Sunday, 11 to 6. The upside to that schedule, Monday through Thursday was wide open. Plenty of time for schoolwork, errands, or just relaxing. But here's the thing, I didn't use that time well, so this is a little bit on me for dropping the ball. I'd wasted on scrolling, binge watching stuff, or getting caught up in relationship drama. Now, the downside, no social life on weekends. You're burnt out by Sunday night. And when I finally clocked out of work, I was too drained to do anything but rush through a bunch of homework until 2 a.m. When I started grad school, I switched to a weekday schedule, and honestly, the balance was better. Grad school classes were mostly in the evening, so I had a clear routine and stayed on top of my classwork. Also, let's be honest, working weekends just sucks. Maybe that's a hot take, I don't know, but there's nothing like waking up on a Saturday or Sunday and knowing you have the whole day to yourself. 10 out of 10 feeling. Bottom line, pick a rhythm that suits your lifestyle and check in with yourself after a few weeks to make sure it's still suitable. Working full-time while taking full-time classes is doable, but it requires discipline, planning, and focus, especially during undergrad when most classes happen in the middle of the day. The biggest thing I lost during that time was my social life. There were so many events I wanted to attend, things I wanted to be a part of, but they just didn't happen. Looking back, I could have asked my managers to switch things up, split shifts, alternate hours, something to make space for other parts of my life. I wish someone sat me down and told me it was okay to scale back. Asking for less doesn't make you weak, it makes you wise. It's also sad I didn't recognize I was overloaded sooner. Hopefully, you watching can spot the signs earlier and do something about it. But I get it. Tuition, bills, pressure, it all makes you feel like you don't have a choice. That's why if I could go back, I'd rather take a lighter class load and be more at peace than max out every unit and every shift just to stay on track. And here's what I'd recommend. Talk to your manager early about your school priorities. Ask for fewer hours if you're slipping in class. If your budget allows, leave work an hour earlier here and there. And use PTO strategically, not just for vacations, but for catching up or getting ahead. You don't need to explain your burnout to anyone, you just need to protect your peace. But let me know what you guys think. Drop a comment down below. Freshmen, what kind of jobs are you considering while in school? Students in the middle of college, how are you balancing everything? Graduates, what job did you work during college? Would you have picked something else different? In short, there's no perfect schedule. This whole process, it's one giant game of trade-offs. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Take care.